the track.
Back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slang Hope, and I got another story time for y'all. And this story time is about how if you went to jail or prison and turned gang, you cheeks, bro. 9 times out of 10, you cheeks. And I don't even care how you feel about it. You cheeks, homie. I don't want no beef, or you shouldn't beat me up because I'm telling you the truth about yourself and what was going on. I said 9 times out of 10. There's an exception to a lot of things. But 9 times out of 10, if you turn gang in jail, you butt. But before I get into why, and we unpack this, make sure if you like my content, you give it a thumbs up, you share it, and you subscribe to the channel. So boom, let me tell y'all something real quick. There's this thing that goes around when you go to Riker's Island and you become a Muslim or you try to find God. There's always this narrative that you did it because you were scared and you were seeking protection, right? Because you was afraid, right? But I feel like when guys go to prison or jail, Rikers Island or whatever, and they turn blood, or I'm gonna just say blood, because it's other gangs that people turn, right? Like some people was turning Patria, or they'll turn this or they'll turn that. But when you go to jail and turn blood, it's almost like it's never questioned, right? The idea that you might be a coward, or the idea that you was soft, you probably was getting pressed, you probably was you know what I'm saying, that the idea that you could be soft and doing it for protection is never questioned, right? And I feel like that's a big ass bias that goes on in Rikers Island, and I'm going to talk about it because, excuse me, it's some of the bias that I was susceptible to myself, that I hated, that got on my nerves and got me upset. So boom, we're going to unpack this. First of all, blacks, African Americans, been turning Muslim in prison since probably like the 40s or the 50s. This is not something new, right? This is something that's been going on since probably before Malcolm X did it, right? Something that's been going on. So when we fast forward, this has been a thing, a regular pattern amongst African Americans, that when they go to prison, they find God or find the religion of Islam. They even got documentaries about this. So let's unpack this. Boom. So now that we said that, right, people have been converted to Islam. I think that it's very common for people to end up in prison or be in a situation or in a calamity of need, and they need or they call on the higher power. That is some simple shit, right? Like when people get hit by a car, when people get shot, when something bad happens to people, when they go through a hurricane, tornado, whatever calamity, they call on God. That's just some regular simple shit. Now, there are some people who do it for whatever motives. I'm not here to discuss that, but that's just what, let's just, you know, we're going slowly. That's just the truth, right? When people get into situations of need, they call on God, right? Now, so I could understand why somebody will turn Muslim or why somebody will turn to God, right? What I can understand is why, what will be the positive purposes of joining a gang when you go to prison? What? For what? What is the positive purposes of doing that? Right? And I encourage y'all to ask this, because people always ask me, why did I become Muslim and how and where and whatever. But I encourage y'all. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all got a bunch of friends that went to jail neutral, or maybe went to jail another gang and came home blood. I could guarantee. And again, this is not no beef. I ain't got no beef with the Bloods. I'm just trying to show you the level of biasness that exists, right? When somebody is trying to change their life around, right? And again, I'm not scrutinizing why people do it. Because you know what? On some real shit, when I sat down and talked to like some of the homies, some of like the early Bloods, you know, from C73, I believe, when they started the Bloods or whatever in 93, 92, whatever year it was. When I sat down and talked to some of those homies, some of them were Bloods. I mean, some of them were Muslim too. On some real shit. Some of them were Muslim too. I don't know why they was Muslim. right? But one of the homies was telling me, he was like, you know, before this blood shit, he said, black people wasn't even really good unless you belong to a religious organization, unless you was Muslim or 5%. And then he said in some cases, Rasta. So he was saying like, you wasn't even really good unless you belong to a religious organization. So it could lead me to believe that before the shit got strong, some of them were turning Muslim too. But look, again, I could never sit here and assume why somebody's seeking God. I could never sit here and say that somebody is not sincere, you know. And another thing is that Muslims are sometimes looked at as a gang in the prison system because of how they operate. And it's not necessarily a gang, because when you really look at it, we live by the Quran, right? The Quran governs us, and you can't really see it. But the Quran governs us, right? The Quran tells us we are a brotherhood. The Quran tells us to stick together. The Quran tells us do not run away from your enemy in battle. The Quran tells us to fight against those who fight against you. The Quran tells us, you know, to safeguard each other, to safeguard our properties and our lives, right? The Quran is governing everything that we do. So when we go out there and try to defend our brothers and try to protect our brothers and try to move the way that we move, it's out of what the Quran is saying. It's out of our belief in God, right? So, and then you got some brothers, and then you got brothers that are willing to die. Look, because let me tell you something. Again, back to this misconception, right? Of dudes is pussy, that's why they become Muslim. How you think Islam became so strong in the prison system? If everybody that's joining Muslims is pussy, how is it that Islam became like a stronghold inside the prisons? Because Muslims have gone to war with Bloods and other gangs, right? So how is it, if these dudes that are converting to Islam are pussy, when the Quran tells you that you have to fight, fi sabilillah, for the cause of God, how is it that Muslims became a stronghold if they pussy? If they're not, if they not fighting? If they're not doing certain things? You know? So it's just something that we have to think about, because you had a lot of brothers in the ranks. Because look, one of the things that Islam teaches is, if I die fighting, I'm gonna go to paradise. So you have brothers that was waiting for a situation to happen. Listen, I used to be in a house with an old brother. He was a Muslim, and one of the Bloods had cut his sister. You know what I'm saying? When the Bloods was out here doing their wild shit in the streets, right? When they spread like wildfire, they was, you know, they had a little initiation or a little, you know, they was doing their little oppressive tactics in the hood. I knew a few brothers that had vendettas against homies, you feel me? And they was just waiting for the moment. And it's not even about numbers. And yo, I'm telling you, it's not even about numbers when it comes to Muslim, because they believe in the power of God. It never been about numbers. Since the moment that Islam became a religion, they've been fighting wars against people that had way more numbers than them. So it never has been about the numbers. So I literally have met brothers that was waiting for a situation because they had a certain vendetta of some type of level of oppression that they have experienced. So, but the point is, that's not that the Muslims was conspiring, but what I'm trying to get to is that, yeah, man, a lot of dudes go into the prison and they don't tell you their story. They don't tell you why they turned blood. They don't tell you how they was forced. They don't tell you how they was oppressed. They don't tell you how they probably got snuffed. They probably got their jaw broken. They probably experienced some level of oppression, and they say, you know what? I'm about to go join this group. I'm about to go join this. Ask a lot of your friends. I guarantee you. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that watch my shit has probably at least one friend that went to jail and came on blood. So, you know, and again, it's not no shade. The whole purpose of this shit is this. When people are trying to change their lives, let them change their lives, homie. Let them change their lives. Why are you trying to peer pressure people? Why are you trying to like oppress people? That's the one thing I don't like. Let them change their lives. You know, in Boys in the Hood, when Trey got out the car, when Trey said, yo, stop the car, and he got out the car, they let him get out the car. Why we can't let people get out the car if they want to get out the car? It's almost like we oppress our people and then we give them no choice but to join our movement or fight against us. That's the only choices we give people, especially in prison. It's in our neighborhoods, it's the same thing. We oppress people. We hold them hostage, whether it's in the community, whether it's in jail, in the housing unit. We oppress them to the point where it's like, you either going to fight against us or you just going to join us. That shit is crazy, bro. We got to be better than that shit. We got to be better than that shit. And I also encourage, and again, I watched Nate's video, so Nate's video kind of like, he just had me thinking about some of the stuff. Shout out to Nate Almighty, by the way. But it's like, yo, we have to change the narrative, bruh. We have to change the narrative on some real shit, man. We have to allow people to be able to get out the car if they want to get out the car. See, because they let Trey get out the car because they knew Trey wasn't really like that. So why are we letting people join the ranks that we know is not really like that? Why are we forcing people to do certain shit? Why are we forcing people's hand? Why are we not having no mercy on people? Let's so-called remember why this shit started. Let's remember that. You know what I'm saying? If it was a black thing, especially in New York City, against the Spaniards, how you forget that shit so fast? It's only been like 20 years. It only been like 20, no, like, yeah, like 20, almost 30. Like, come on. How you forget that shit so fast? And this is why I say these things, we need to stop romanticizing that these shits are positive movements. They're not. They're really not. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at the West Coast, like, and the Crips started, and the Crips started oppressing people, and then out of that came the Bloods to fight against the Crips. So if the Crips was never oppressing people, like, come on, it's always some shit about somebody was oppressing somebody. When people get power, they overstep their boundaries and they violate. But then we want to talk shit about the people who want to turn to God. We want to talk shit about the people that want to change their lives. We want to shit on the people who are seeking a different path. And that's just what people do, man. In our communities, unfortunately, when you're trying to change your ways, when you're trying to walk on a straight path, when you're trying to do something different, they won't let you. They won't let you. But the point I just wanted to, and I'm going to get out of here because I'm talking too much. It's just how there's this air, this idea that the moment you become Muslim, it's questioned, it's criticized. You're soft, you were scared, you pussy, you do all this. But Muslims was putting in work too. They know. People that have been bidden know that. And it don't gotta be everybody, because every group got a whole bunch of pussy motherfuckers. You're not supposed to run, you're not supposed to hide, you're not supposed to do that. But even the Muslims do that, right? When it's time to go to the yard. But the thing is, Muslims believe in dying for their religion. So they don't care. And when you fighting against an enemy that's not afraid to die, you're gonna have some problems in your hand. I seen it. I seen it myself. I seen 5 Muslims go to the yard to deal with issues that involve a whole bunch of other dudes in another gang. I seen it myself. So the point is, yo, live and let live, man. And if people want to be like Trey, they want to get out the car, let them get out the car, bro. Don't oppress them. Don't force them to stay. But let me know what y'all thoughts are. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time. Peace.